is.
There we go. Oh, it's closer than
And
I
now we look
expected.
like swans, don't we? Because earlier we were still in our sweatpants,
We
and
were.
now we look like angels.
And my hair, wait now, I'm gonna move my very salubrious setup of a bin and a box, because because the thing I use for propping a phone is not in this house. Okay, that's a bit better if I go
It's
back.
always the way, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have my trusty tripod. So, Aidan, thank you so much for agreeing to be the first of our victims. No, did I just say that out loud? First of our guests on our brilliant Tuesday chats for Design Source. I adore doing these, and Adele said, "Would you like to chat to Aidan?" And I said, oh, "Yes, absolutely, 100% yes." So, I mean, obviously, most people will be familiar with you from Home Rescue, but for anybody who isn't familiar and hasn't watched the show and doesn't know anything about you, Aidan Gately, over to you. Tell us all about who you are and what you do.
This is your life. Hopefully the sound is okay, because I haven't headphones in, but I can put them in if anybody comments to say they can't hear me or something. But yes. So yeah, we talked about this earlier. Do you want my 30-second, 3-minute, or 30-minute answer?
I think that this is one of those evenings where it's just, there's going to be so many things happening and questions, and everyone's going to be so fascinated with you. But
Yes.
yeah, you give me Aidan in a lovely potted nutshell.
Yeah, and you just wave your hand if you're like, that's enough. So yeah, so I don't know, I'm from Kildare, grew up in Leixlip, moved to Clane when I was kind of 10. That's where I am now, in my mum's house actually this evening. And I did performing arts in college. I love musical theatre. I worked in Disneyland in Paris for a little while.
Oh, wow.
I've done about, I'd say my CV, like to get it on one page, I've done probably about 14 different jobs to up to this point. A lot of kind of arts administration, service industry, shops, bakeries, you name it. And I did that book. I don't know if any of your listeners or watchers now, Instagram livers, is that what we call you? What Colour is Your Parachute is a book that actually, strangely enough, the same friend, I must thank her, and she's one of my clients now, Jen, she recommended both What Colour is Your Parachute, which is a really good book to try and figure out what job or what career is best suits you, and it's about your values and things. So she recommended that to me, and then a few years later she told me about Marie Kondo on Netflix. So because of her, because of Jen, then I watched Marie Kondo on Netflix. I was looking to change career. I'd spent about 15 years in arts admin, loving it, but basically playing with spreadsheets kind of every day, which is fine for a while, but then I was like, I want to do something more physical and more joyful and meet people more and more, interaction kind of with people. So yeah, so I watched Netflix. We talked about this earlier. I refolded my t-shirts, and it's funny. There's a group meeting tonight talking about the book, actually, again, Consultants Worldwide, and like to think back on my t-shirts or my jumpers, I'm like, I can't understand how I ever had them like that, and thought that was it was really clean and tidy. Like they were folded, but they were folded in half, and they were stacked like plates in a press,
Yeah.
And the jumpers probably folded in half and stacked as well.
Yeah.
And like they haven't been like that since I watched that first Netflix program. Once she said, fold them in thirds and vertically stack them.
Yes.
It's
And the
like,
socks. I mean, honestly,
you do your socks.
I do the socks.
A lot of people don't go that far. Yeah.
And even the can I say pants on Instagram? I don't
Yeah.
know. Even my pants drawer is like, it's life changing, because I used to just upend everything, as you said, and then when you've upended everything, that's it. It stays upended.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that was, once I kind of did that and realized, oh my God, all my t-shirts are in the same place. They're taking up less space. I can pick one out individually. They're all getting worn evenly, rather than being squashed and the one at the bottom never getting worn, and feeling sad for him because he's squashed and never worn. So yeah, and then I found one day when I was in that job that wasn't sparking joy enough anymore, I found that you could train to become a KonMari consultant. And because Marie's job, her mission, I suppose, is to tidy the world one house at a time. And we're kind of her disciples all around the world. There's about nearly 1,000 of us now around the world, but only 10 men. And I'm the only one in Ireland so far.
Wow.
So yeah, very niche.
And do
So
you all get together and have like condo parties? I mean,
we
I'm envisaging like 1,000 of you in a hotel, just like folding all the hotel laundry or something. I don't know.
yeah, we do. Well, we've kind of unofficially, for the last 2 years in October in London, they've done an in-person consultant training course, and
Okay.
I've gone to that. And new people come to train, and also consultants come just to meet one another. And this year there was people from America, Japan, Australia, London. So for the first time ever in the history of the world, I think there was 3 male KonMari consultants in the one room in a photograph, which is unheard of. And yeah, it's funny. We did go for lunch on a yacht. It sounds so lovely. And it
Okay.
was cold. It was kind of cold in October, but Mickey,
We're not feeling sorry for you on the yacht and cold in October. Sorry.
one of the our other consultants, she was like being the mammy, bringing us water, and then at the end, because we had towels to keep us warm or throws, and she was folding them like nobody's business. I was like, I'm not even going to try and do mine as pretty as that,
But
because
that's it. You'd all be judging each other's level of folding, right? Like, is that crease perfect? I'm not sure. Like, binned.
yeah, I know. And I was messaging them because I was in an Airbnb that was really messy. Like, it was the messiest Airbnb I've ever been in. It had, I think there was like 4 or 5 vacuums, but they were never used. And I messaged them saying, we need 15 consultants in this apartment stat. Like, it was so messy. And, and it does, and we'll get into this later, like, it really did affect. I didn't want to go back there kind of in the evenings, or I didn't look forward to kind of going home and sitting on the couch and having a cup of tea to unwind, and it really does, how your space, how you feel in your space really does affect you mentally, so that's what I love about the process. And I suppose that's why I have such passion for this job. And when I found it and became a consultant and couldn't believe, oh my God, I can get paid to do this thing, the thing that I suppose has always kind of come naturally to me. But the more I work with people, I realize it doesn't come naturally to everybody else. Like for yourself, like into your design or styling, you can do it with your eyes closed, whereas
Yeah,
somebody else can't, but somebody else can do algebra and stock exchange and maths and
absolutely. Exactly.
so you
Yeah.
lean into your strengths. But yeah, it's something that, like, Marie talks about this in her books, that it's not taught. Nobody teaches us how to tidy, and yet it's such a source of stress in our lives, or can be.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, most of us will have watched, I'm guessing that if people have joined here, they probably have seen you on Home Rescue. I mean,
Hopefully.
how did that gig come about? Because obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a life-changing show, and you make such a difference to people, like genuinely and,
Yeah.
heartwarmingly so.
Yeah,
And
no, it's
so,
amazing. Yeah, it just all kind of fell into place kind of naturally, thankfully. So I'd always been a fan of the show, like genuinely, Miriam, and Home of the Year, The Great House Revival, Bungalow Bliss. Like I think I've seen every single version of all of them. So just as I was kind of starting to set up my business, which is joyathome.ie, I reached out to the then interior designer Roisin Murphy, kind of saying, I love the show. I'm sitting here crying, as I do at the end of every episode. I just love what you do. I've set up this business. If you need anybody, let me know. I'll just make tea in the background, whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she was very good. She came back to me straight away, and I wasn't even on Instagram much, and I was like, I'll just DM her. Is that what I do? Like, and she did, and she said, look, contact the production company, which is Coco Content, who make It and Room to Improve and First Dates and lots of other amazing shows and documentaries. So I reached out to them. I sent them a really like plumossing but true, like the subject line was like, you are amazing, but like it was genuine. And 9 months went by, I heard nothing, and then Jane, the series producer, reached out to me because they had to change kind of the structure of it. Roisin had to kind of step back, and they needed another designer to join the team, and they wanted a declutter expert. They hadn't had one of those before. So I applied and got it. So it all coincided at the same time as the business kind of taking off.
Yeah, yeah. So all the sort of the stars aligned for you at
Yeah.
that stage. And I mean, so obviously, the principles of, there's a very big difference between having a bit of a tidy up and then, a full kind of declutter of your home. I mean, tell us really what is the difference? What are you doing
Yes.
for a client? that is, is the next level up from, having a quick tidy up before the guests come.
Yes, yeah. Well, I suppose the difference is, so there's two. The main difference, I suppose, is between a cluttered house and an untidy house. Do you know? This house is untidy. Like lived-in houses are untidy, but
Yes.
once you've done with the KonMari method, once you've done your tidying festival, as we call it, you never have to declutter again. You do it once, you do it properly. It takes time, but you will thank yourself. And then after that, you tidy up. When you come home in the evening, because you know where everything goes, you don't have too much of anything. There's room in all your presses and your cupboards, your fridge, your saucepan drawer, and saucepan lids. Everything has a home. Do you know, like in a previous house that I had that I sold and a relationship ended or whatever. So, but in that house, because everything in it was ours, like if there was a power cut and it was dark, I could have found a stapler, a saucepan, and my passport, suitcase, the dog collar, whatever in the dark, because I knew exactly where everything was and I didn't have too much of anything. So what I do with clients, I suppose, is I help them declutter. And decluttering is really simple. It's getting rid of unnecessary items. Do you know?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
once you get rid of, and it's not about minimalism, it's not about thinking, oh God, I have to get rid of half my clothes. You flip that mindset, you look at the pile of clothes or your books or your tinned goods, whatever it is you're doing. We'll talk about the categories and rules probably later. And you look at that pile and you think, okay, do I love this? Do I want it? As Marie says, does it spark joy for me? It's
Yeah.
that simple. That is the question you have to ask yourself. And also, you should ask that question if you're in a shop or if somebody's giving you something, a book, a plant, something. Does it spark joy? If it doesn't, if you don't love it in the shop, you won't like it when you get home. So my job is to guide the person to curate their possessions. It's literally like you just take a step back. Whatever age you are, we accumulate so much stuff. It's not our fault. It's commercialism, it's presence, it's everything. It's inheritance. So you take a step back and you go through it strategically, clothes, then books, then paper, etc. And you just pick up each item and you keep it if you love it and if you need it and if you wear it and if it fits you. And if it doesn't do any of those things, then you let it go, donate or recycle. And anything that's anyway sentimental, you push it to the end because that's really hard. So though we don't start with photographs or anything like that. Or I see Tammy Lane is on the call because I helped her recently with her attic, and we haven't gone through the whole process, but her house is gorgeous. Anyway, as an interior designer, most interior designers, they know the benefit of living in a beautiful space. But an attic is hard because the attic has everything from just last year's Christmas decorations to the kids' baby clothes to cards to memories from previous generations and stuff. So I wouldn't suggest starting with an attic, but it can be done if you have help.
And I would imagine that, we're all in the same boat. And funnily enough, actually, we had this conversation earlier because the attic is on our to-do list. Because I think it's one of those places that, you tend to... So this is a really good one. So I have to, Aidan blew my mind earlier, and I have to pass this on. So
Oh, yes.
we were talking about the room of doom, and the attics are often the room of doom because they're above your head and out of sight and out of mind. So
Except not.
it is a acronym for didn't organize, just move. No, only moved.
That's
Didn't
it.
organize, only moved. And
Yeah.
I went, oh,
Yeah.
that is so true. We've
We've all
all
been
done that.
doing, yeah, we've been doing it for years. That's what we thought decluttering was, I think. You get all the pieces of paper and you kind of stack them and then you put them back exactly where they were, or in a different place, or in a drawer, or in the spare
Yes.
room. So yeah, we didn't organize, only moved. And that's the thing, like we're moving the clutter around the place up to the spare room, to the garage, to the office. Once the garage is full, let's build another shed. Oh, let's get another shed. Like in Home
Oh,
Rescue.
that sounds scarily familiar.
Yes, yeah. In Home Rescue, there was this lovely house in Cabinteely with Peter and family, and they had a beautiful south-facing garden with, I think, a log cabin and at least 3 sheds. And it's like, oh my God, you don't need any of the sheds if you just reduce what you have. So yeah, and I'm on a mission to tell Pete the Builder and other people like him to stop building big attics. The bigger the attic, the more crap you will put in it, which is good for me because it'll keep me in a job. But honestly, if anybody's on this call is building a house, moved into a house, in a house with not like only put in the bare minimum into your attic. Christmas decorations, Halloween, Easter, whatever seasonal decorations you have, and suitcases, that's it, ideally, really. And in some countries, if you're really good, you can probably have the suitcases in your wardrobe or something, because the more, like, if anything is going up in the attic, it's obviously not really important. And if it is, well, that's the thing though. I'm contradicting myself. There's so many sentimental items that people own in their attic. And you're like, but it's the most important thing. It's granny's crockery, it's photographs, or whatever it is. It's baby clothes. Like, they're in the attic. They're not sparking joy for you. You don't see them. And I used to say that, out of sight, out of mind, but it's not. It's your brain still knows that it's up
Okay.
there. Actually, one of my clients in a course I gave in Clane and Kildare, she didn't like the idea of kind of stuff in the attic, so she just moved it to the garage. So she felt kind of slightly lighter on top of her head, knowing that it was in the garage, upstairs in the garage, not over her physical head. But it definitely takes a toll on your mental health, actually.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, what starts out as untidy and then becomes cluttered, and after a little while, presumably when you're working with clients, they're calling you because they're at a level where they can no longer function adequately in their homes. So they're
Yeah.
calling you in basically to help them see the wood for the trees and have those conversations. And I mean, that's really interesting what you were saying about the things in the attic, because I think about what's in my attic, which is a lot, of course. And we're in a dormer bungalow here, so it's crawling height only to get to any of these things. And there is the suitcases, the spare duvets, and all of those kind of things. But there is the box of all the kids' artwork, because our kids have spent a long time making all this artwork, and my husband will tell you he was madly into art when he was younger and still is. He's for part-time painter, but I mean he's really sad that none of his stuff was kept. So we've been really conscious that what if our kids want to look at all the things they made when they were 5? So we didn't keep every single scrappy bit of colouring in. We kept only the good things. But there is a box of the kids' stuff that they can then look at or decide to throw away when the time comes if they're adults.
And what ages are the kids?
They're teenagers /20 now.
Yeah, if you probably ask them now, they'd probably just say no and you could dump it all. But they might still need it in future or not. There's so many clients I go to, and I'm in attics in a house that people have lived in for 30, 40 years, and we come across school notebooks, art, other things, and I say, look, ring your son now, take a picture of that and send it to your daughter. Invariably now, they usually come back and say, what? Why do you still have that, ma'am? Of course I don't want that. Are you crazy? Like, unless your kid is going to be the next Picasso. But look, absolutely, I'm not against sentimentality, and I have lots of sentimental items, but what I'd recommend is you keep, a box per child, and then a box for yourself, or a box for the couple, or whatever it is, or for the dog, or whatever it is. But just keep it to like a shoebox, or even a slightly bigger box, and if it gets full, don't get another box and another box and another box.
Yes.
Yeah. But kids are really good at this. Marie will say from the age of 3 or 4, they can decide, because they don't have the guilt and the shame. They don't know how much the toy cost that Auntie Mary got last Christmas. They just go, no, I don't like it. And recently I was decluttering with a client, and I did a session with her 2 kids who were like teenagers, 14, 15. And we did their clothes, all of their clothes and their shoes, in like 4 hours. I was like zooming between the rooms, but they were just so like, no, I don't like it. Doesn't fit me anymore. Yeah, I wear that one. Yeah, I've 19 hoodies. I love them all, but I don't like it, And it's like, obviously, we'll keep your school uniform. It mightn't spark joy for you, but we need it. But kids are so much quicker to kind of decide what sparks joy for them, because it's just instinctual. They're not tied up with the shame and the guilt about how much it costs and how much it costs to where's it going to go next. And Auntie Mary will be devastated if you don't wear her Christmas jumper next Christmas and all of that stuff,
So here's the thing. So okay, so you work with clients, and you're saying what stays, what goes, and all of that stuff. But how do you? Because I'm very conscious that very often if we've done clear outs, what happens is things are backed up and things are boxed.
Yeah.
And then what? And then what, Aidan?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny. Elaine, I know, might be on the call as well. Up in Letterkenny, she was saying, yeah, that's sometimes her problem. She had a rug for 6 months rolled up because she didn't know where to bring it. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm in the process of a long-winded process of I want to just create like a master spreadsheet for Ireland almost of where in each county you can bring stuff to, because that is part of the problem. Now, Vision Ireland, St. Vincent de Paul, Irish Cancer Society, most of those charity shops are really, really good, depending on where they are and how much space they have. So I'll always recommend, unless if you're just going in with a few bags or a few boxes, grand. If you have like rugs or like 10 boxes of books, ring them in advance, because some of them will say absolutely not, we can't take books at all. Whereas I know I had a client in Galway before, she found it really hard to find someone to take books, but then we found one in Westside who have a whole, like a third of the charity shop is books. They have a trolley ready for people to bring in books, so there is places. So yeah, send me a DM, and if I don't know, I'll try and find out where things go. But mywaste.ie is really good for figuring out where to recycle things, and your local county council as well. But a lot of places, and now we've got places like the Rediscovery Centre in Ballymun and Restore, the new one in Glasnevin, who will take paint and crockery and new tiles, old tiles, flooring. So there's a lot of stuff that can be taken now. The only thing that still annoys me though is things like working lamps that like still can't be given to a charity shop. But the thing is, sometimes actually I know that Enable Ireland sometimes have a relationship with some of the dumps and the county council recycling centres. So if something comes into them that's still in working order, they say, look, we can't sell it in a charity shop, but we can give it to somebody who needs it. So there is kind of some slight ways kind of around that, Dogs Trust is where I go with duvets and blankets and things like that. Most places can't take duvets because they don't have something big enough to wash them, like the DCPCA don't. I haven't found anywhere in Ireland yet that takes pillows. They have to go to landfill by the looks of it, because they can't be fabric recycled either. Though somebody told me there's a place in a crockery on the way to Galway. So if anybody is in that vicinity, my cousin said, I think they take pillows there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to take a day trip. But yeah, so it's because it's once you start kind of decluttering, then you start becoming really conscious of how much we're not using, and people do struggle with that, and in home rescue and a lot of my clients, they're like, just keep it out of landfill, and we will obviously do as much as we can for that. But there are some things that will have to go to landfill, and you just kind of have to accept that. Like if it goes to landfill today or next week or in 10 years time, or when you're deceased and your child is throwing it away, whether it goes now or in 10 years time, like there's no point in keeping something in your house unused, taking up precious real estate in your wardrobe or in your spare room or whatever. If you're not going to use it, let it go now, but allow it also to teach you. This is what Marie talks about in her books as well. If you buy a dress, or it could be a couch of a certain fabric or whatever it is that you realize, I don't want this anymore, figure out what it is about it, so it teaches you something. So it might be like, oh, well, I love a polka dot dress, but spaghetti straps aren't for me. For me, it was like, I had a yellow t-shirt years ago, but it made me look sick, even though yellow is lovely. So now I know yellow does not look good.
Jump on yellow.
So like, and even it might be just, I love everything about this top or this blouse, but I don't like the buttons, or it itches here or whatever. So as you're kind of going to stuff and you're deciding to let it go with gratitude, you kind of thank it out loud or in your head as it goes for donation. But check if you're like, oh, I've never worn this. I take it out, I hold it up, I sometimes try it on, I never wear it. Figure out what it is about it that is, and then you won't make that mistake again.
Amazing advice. That's such good advice. But I mean, I know, sort of, I try and do certainly more so with interiors. With clothes, I'm a little bit, I'm not quite as strict with myself, but certainly with interiors, I've got a little bit better at doing the one in, one out. So, my husband's philosophy with cushions, because he's not a fan of them, would be, if a cushion is coming in, another one is going out.
Yeah, so the bed.
But obviously, with my job, the styling stuff starts to pile up fairly fast. But I mean, that's a really good point with clothing, because I've never thought of it like that. To think about why something doesn't work for you.
Each item will have taught you something. Yes, and that will help, because often people have a lot of guilt of, they can remember how much it cost to buy and they only wore it or whatever. So you kind of have to let go of all of that. I don't care. Like, I have stuff that is probably really cheap and 20 years old that I keep, and then I've other stuff that I was maybe gifted that's more expensive, but and like a wool jumper or something or a scarf. I'm like, I love it, but it just makes me itchy. I just can't wear it. There's no point in me keeping it. If somebody gives me a cashmere jumper, well, maybe cashmere, maybe that'd be soft enough. I don't know, but like, there's no point in keeping it. So you learn what suits you and what doesn't.
Yeah. And I mean, Vinted is great now. So there are ways
Yes.
that you can actually make money from these clothes that,
Yeah.
still are brand new with tags,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
it doesn't necessarily, the thing to do is to not then scroll vintage.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm a newish vintage person, and for a while I tried to sell a pair of runners, and nobody was buying, and somebody offered me a fiver. I'm like, I'm not. Out of pride, I will give them to the charity shop. I won't sell them for a fiver because they're too new for that.
Yeah.
But like, the first thing I did on Vinted was buy like a second hand Swatch watch. But I think that might have helped with my algorithm, because then after that things started to sell for me. But like, I had ski trousers that I wore once, and they were just way too tight, and I tried to get them taken in by a dressmaker, and she's like, I'll ruin them. They're gorgeous. Just sell them, and if you go skiing again, buy new ones, kind of thing, So, but going back to the thing about, there's rules though as well, I think, or guidelines for Vinted and for, the stuff for donation. So once you have stuff ready to donate, if you don't know where it's going, send me a DM. I'll try and help you, and we'll. Brilliant. Google is feckin'. Google and AI can find places no matter where you are in the country. You have to put them in your car straight away, and then you have to get them out of your car as soon as possible. They are not coming back into the house. Do not leave them.
Not turn your car into a self-storage unit. No.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Now my car.
Just asking for a friend, Aidan. Just asking for a friend.
My car at Christmas time, because one of my clients was asking me, what should be in your car? I'm like, well, don't look at mine tonight, because it's full of like boxes and labels, and because I was working, but then I cleared it for Christmas, kind of thing. But yeah, with Vinted as well, it can be, you just have to be kind of strict, I think, and it takes a lot more time to photograph and upload a garment than you think it's going to take. So my advice is, take all the photographs. If you just create a little pile in the wardrobe, which I have, take all the photographs in one go, 3 or 4 pictures of each, showing the size, the label, the material, and then sit down someday with a strong gin and tonic if you want, and upload them all, because it takes a while picking every feckin' thing you have to pick. And then decide, okay, in 3 weeks' time, or whatever it is, 6 months if you have loads of space or whatever, if it's not sold by then, or, reduce the price, but then you have to let it go, because otherwise, the thing with reselling things, that if the admin is starting to take more time than the thing was originally worth, then it just becomes more stress.
It becomes a headache. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the whole thing about, too much stuff, clutter, mess everywhere, that has an impact on our mental health. I mean, that's a given. I mean, so we were talking this morning, like Christmas, I find, I'm maximalist in terms of my interior style. I'm not a clutter person, but I like pretty things. So, my house would be relatively full of things, not mess.
Yeah.
But you add in Christmas to all of that, and I can start to feel like this stuff kind of like starting to really overwhelm me.
Yeah.
So, I can only imagine then, like, so it's like that the book. I mean, I used to read this book to my kids all the time, and it resonated with me. It's called Squash and the Squeeze. And the old lady had to take in her cow and it's a really great book, by the way, for people with children, to understand that actually your space isn't too small, it's that you've too much in it.
Sounds like the Marie Kondo book that she did for kids. Very similar.
It's brilliant. It's a fantastic book. But A Squash and the Squeeze, and as soon as Christmas is taken away, you suddenly go
yeah. And everybody's kind of moment is different, so like I'm thinking of Hugh Wallace, actually. Like, his style wouldn't be my style, so I think I couldn't probably live as peacefully in a house that he is fully decorated as Amanda from Home of the Year or whatever. So, but it's not, nothing is right or wrong. It's not, and KonMari method isn't about minimalism. So it's just whatever sparks joy for you. So if you want to live in a really busy household with prints on every single surface of the wall, absolutely fine. If you love every single print, then absolutely fine, or if you like less, and like in pardon me, in this bedroom in my mom's house, I have some art up on the walls, but then I have one big blank wall, and I kind of feel like that's my, like, it's almost like for my brain to kind of project onto, or just that kind of space, and and interior designs, and actually, and I'm obsessed with the telly. Like Room to Improve this week was like, oh, the wasted space. I'm not sure if anybody saw it in the extension, and they were bringing it in a little bit from the wall, and the lady couldn't. She got over it, but I was like, it's not wasted space. It's light. It's going to see the sky. It's, or those double height kind of things. You're like, oh, but sure, we could put a mezzanine and a bedroom up there. But I'm like, no, like the space over your head. And I don't know why in my parents' house I was quite lucky when we moved. My dad kind of designed quite a big sitting room, dining room. Like it's, I don't know how high, I should measure it. It's, much higher than a normal room kind of thing. And recently, I think one of the BER guys was like, if you drop that ceiling down now and insulate it, it would cost less to heat. And we were like, what? Like, oh my God, no. Or paint the
How dare you?
yeah, like I definitely think if I ever buy a house or build a house or something, like there's those voids, that like the physical space above your head. I think that's why when you go into, like, I don't know, a hotel or a church or some of those places, that space, you don't have to fill every space with stuff, like a shelf, like, put stuff maybe at either end if you want, or a windowsill, but not all the way along it kind of thing. It's just about kind of creating those bits of space. But sorry, I got a quote, because when people ask the mental health benefits, I'm like, yeah, but I can never rhyme it off kind of properly, but I found this really great quote earlier on online. And so, yeah, studies have shown a negative correlation between clutter and life satisfaction. So as clutter decreases, people generally report feeling happier and more proud of their homes.
Wow.
And it is. So there's a lot of things, like it reduces cognitive overload, because it's that thing of, it's not out of sight, out of mind. If you're sitting down, your brain is looking at visual noise and it's thinking all of these things I need to do. And that's the stress hormone. So once you do that, it reduces that, then it boosts your mood and your self-esteem. It improves sleep quality, because if you're going, that's one thing I can't do, like going to bed in a messy bedroom, even if it's just a few clothes on the ground, just put them into the laundry basket or whatever. Like that's why people, I think, sleep so well in somebody else's house, in the guest room or in a hotel or when they're on holidays, because they're not looking at stuff to be done. So if you remove that visual clutter and you declutter once and for all, it literally frees up your head and your physical time. And that's the benefits of the KonMari method and doing it properly in one go. Because then you literally can sit down in the evenings after work or on a Saturday after dropping the kids to football or whatever, and you're not looking at things to be done. You can kind of go, oh, well, what do I do now? Oh, I can ring a friend, I can read a book, I can watch something on the telly that I recorded last Christmas 12 months and the skybox is now full. Like all those things, that we put off, but we still procrastinate about the decluttering, and then we're kind of stuck, and all of a sudden you can be more creative. You can bake again because where your baking equipment is and you can easily get it, because there is a phrase for that and I've forgotten it now. There's kind of blocks to doing things. So it could be like, for me, baking, or somebody else maybe painting or doing their knitting, and they can't figure out why don't I do this thing I love? And it's like, oh, because the baking stuff is in the bottom of that press and I can't get at it, and some of it might be out of date and I don't know where the tins are. So it's just, and your brain makes that decision without you even noticing. So your brain just decides, I can't do that thing, it's too stressful to do the thing I love. So you just don't do it.
Gosh, that's just, oh my gosh, that resonates so much. So how do you okay, so we've got to, so where do we start? So okay, so say we're all living in like utter chaos in our houses, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm asking again for a friend. We're all living in utter chaos of clutter. Where do you suggest, other, if we're not in a position to ask you very kindly to come and help
Yeah,
us, please?
obviously that's the first thing. You ring me.
That's ideally what we would do. We would ring on the telephone.
DM
Uh,
me and get a free 30-minute phone consultation. Yeah, but no. So if you can't do that, just start really, really small. The dog has now come into my room and has decided she doesn't want to stay, and she's going to bark at the door in a second. But I'll ignore her for now because there's a lamp on the bed trying to create nice, smooth lighting.
Ambiance. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, start really small. Ideally, start with your clothes. Clothes is the easiest to start with. That's why the KonMari method starts with clothes. It's the easiest. thing to decide on compared to paper is intensive and labor intensive and time. Sentimental items are really hard. So start with your clothes. Ideally, what you want to do is take every single piece of clothing you own out of the wardrobe, out of the
Yeah.
spare room, out of the attic, the car, the garage, wherever they are, pile them up on your bed
Like
and
all
list.
of them in one hit, one
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Holy
the
moly. Okay,
pile.
that
Yeah.
would be a lot.
There's a reason for it. You need that shock value to realize, how much clothes do I need? Do you know?
Okay.
And when you do the same with books, you do the same with paper,
Yeah.
you do it with electrical items, you do it with food. It really strategically, you kind of go, I have way too much stuff, and I don't use half it, and that's a waste of money and time and space and everything. If that's kind of too much, grab a friend as well. Get a friend to come in and say, look, you come in and help me for 4 hours this Saturday, then I'll come in and help you. If that's too much, start really small. Subcategorize clothes down smaller. So just do trousers, just do dresses. So take them off the hanger. Take all your dresses out of the wardrobe, off the hanger, put them on the bed, take a breath, and then you need your system. So before you start deciding on what to keep or not keep, you need a system. It can be really, really simple. 3 chairs, 3 piles on the ground with plastic bags, cardboard boxes free from the supermarket. Keep, donate, and recycle. And then have a normal waste bin and something for paper recycling as you go. But just have that system before you start. Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever it is. And then you literally just go through each item and you're asking yourself, do I love this? So as you're looking at that pile of dresses, you don't want to be kind of thinking, oh, picking the ones to get rid of. Change your mind again, and it's like, I want to find the ones I love. I love this one. And the beauty of having somebody like me there with you, when, like, if I was doing this with you, Sarah, you'd pick up a dress, and if you love it, you will smile and you'll go, oh yeah, I love this one. And that feeling is the feeling you want then for everything. Often people will pick up something and their face will just kind of go, no, yeah, I do, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but your body is saying you hate it.
Yeah, and I saw something really interesting. A stylist the other day that I follow, she was suggesting, and this is something that I do occasionally if I have time, but I think this is a great idea. If you have a spare afternoon, and I know that's a hard ask for most of us, but if you
Yeah.
have a spare afternoon, the kids have gone off to football or have gone to a play date or whatever, and you've half an afternoon, go upstairs to your wardrobe, right? As you say, with a glass of wine or a cup of tea,
Yeah.
whatever floats your boat. Open up your wardrobe, start trying some different things on together and going, oh, I never thought that skirt would actually go really well with that top.
Yeah.
And that's going to invigorate your clothes and going
Yeah.
to show you the wheat from the chaff as well of,
Yes.
actually, do you know what? Yeah, I'm done with that jumper. That really doesn't go with anything else that I have, or
Yeah.
so on and so forth. Or the color doesn't really do it for me. And we change over time as to what
Yeah.
colors serves
What you
as
like
well.
and what suits you. Yeah, absolutely. And like we definitely, how many women like, I've nothing to wear for this occasion or at this date. And obviously I'm very lucky to be a man because women have it so much harder for a wedding or whatever. I'm like, I just wear the same suit 8 times, nobody cares. Whereas like you should be able to wear the same dress 8 times, do you know, kind of way. So, but yeah, just go through. But even if you only just get rid of, and probably shouldn't say get rid of because that's kind of negative, gratefully let go any clothes that doesn't fit you. And that's a harder one, and that's one I've had to practice kind of what I preach more recently because I'm getting older and the waistline is expanding, and all my jeans used to fit me or all the same size, and now I'm like, oh. But Marie will say, you really have to accept yourself exactly as you are now. It doesn't mean you're not going to lose weight in the future or put on weight if that's your issue or whatever, but there's no point in keeping the fat clothes, as people call them, or the thin clothes, because when you see them, and you do see them even kind of in the back of your head, you know that the skinny jeans are up there that you want to fit into, that you fit into before 5 kids came along. Like, give yourself a break, let them go, and just accept where you are right now. Because if you can get up in the morning, and that's one of, like, do clothes first. If you can get up in the morning and know that everything in your wardrobe fits you and you like and you love, like, honestly, and people will say, and people from my class in Clane who did this are like, people are now like, oh my God, is that a new top? Is that a new dress? Is that it? And like, no, I just found it in my wardrobe. Because so many things, some people say, oh, get rid of something if you haven't worn it in 6 months. But often the reason you haven't worn it, it's not because you don't love it. It's because it was at the back of the wardrobe and you couldn't find it. Do you know? So people start wearing things again, and they're like, "Oh my god, people think I've got a whole new wardrobe. I'm just going to open this door and let the dog out because she doesn't like our chat."
Yeah. And I mean, for the people who have been joining a little bit later in the chat, because I've seen a few people come in a little bit later on. I mean, for anybody who doesn't know about the Marie Kondo fold,
Yes.
I think to me this is the most game changing, and I know that there are lots of people who have just literally joined. So I think it would be really good to recap a little bit for anyone who's just
Yes.
joined, just about how revolutionary the Marie Kondo fold is.
Yes. And let me see now. Do I have? Thank God I do have one, because I'm in my mom's house in my old bedroom, but it's still my bedroom. So yes, the Marie Kondo fold. So here, like, this is actually just like a pajama top, but oh, it smells nice and fresh. So
Ah. Mummy's done the washing for you.
no, I might have done it my own, but she might have folded it. No, actually, she's not good as good at the folding. But yeah, so you probably won't be able to see this very well. But back in the day, I used to, like, in a store, you know, you fold them in, the sleeves kind of go in, you get it into a rectangle.
Yeah.
And what I used to do was just kind of fold it in half, kind of thing, and then you'd stack them like plates, you know. And I thought that was grand, you know. But then Marie, and of course, this isn't really going to work on a. Maybe if I do it like this. So you fold it, you've got the neck up here basically, and you've got and what you do, you fold it from the neck down and you leave a little gap. So if I do it like this, I've never done this now before. Like so, you might be able to see, so there's a little gap left kind of there. It's not perfect, but that's okay because there's no such thing as perfection. So you fold it in half with the neck kind of in with a little gap. And the reason for the gap is because as you fold it, it kind of moves. And then from there, then, depending on the garment and how deep your drawers are, because maybe with jumpers or sweaters for Americans,
it's harder,
Americans, you know, you might only fold a jumper in half. It might be too bulky or whatever. But for something like this, a t-shirt like this, I'll do it in thirds, which is hard for an Irish person to say, THs. So you go 1, 2, and then you've got your little envelope of joy. Now, look, it's sticking out a little bit there, but that's fine. You know, I was doing it kind of, and then when you put it in your drawer, you put them like this, you know? And you also then, the Marie Kondo method, you also do dark to light. So if it's in a drawer and they're facing this way, the dark ones at the back, light ones at the front, and the same with hanging clothes as well. It just makes it look gorgeous and easier to find then. So dark to light, left to right. So do your long black coats and dresses. Keep them kind of like, if you just have one wardrobe, I usually maybe do like long coats, jackets and coats on the left, then long dresses, and then short dresses and blouses kind of thing. And so within each subcategory, it goes from dark on the left to light on the right. And then when you need a white blouse or a black pair of trousers or whatever it is, you know exactly where they are. You know, it's about trying to actually kind of make your clothing like a little shop. And it doesn't have to be like this unit here behind me is just an IKEA chest of drawers, you know, but it's really good for stacking kind of stuff like that in it.
I found, so I have been doing it, and I'm sometimes better at keeping it up than others, as we discussed, but I found the most game-changing one for me actually was my linen.
Oh yes, your hot press.
my linen, I'm you can take the girl out of England, my linen cupboard.
Oh, not even an airing cupboard. Wow.
Oh, a linen cupboard. Well, see, we don't have a hot press, so I have an actual linen cupboard on my. But that stacking the linen that way was absolutely revolutionary. It's got messy because, you know.
Yeah, but it can be, but that's life, you know. Like, and I did, I think 5 hours alone when I moved back here after COVID for a while, and I was like, "Ma'am, I cannot cope with the hot press. I cannot find 2 pillowcases. I cannot find, why is there so many flat sheets? We don't use flat, like, just which one is the double duvet, which is the king?" And so I literally spent 5 hours on my own once, just organizing it. I didn't declutter it in any way because we didn't have the headspace. And then a few years later, we decluttered it. And still to this day, I think this stat is incorrect, but it's not. The wardrobe, it's like, it's not quite a walk-in hot press, but like, it's double doors with the cylinder there and a rail and shelves. So it's great, but I cannot believe this, but she got rid of I think it was 17 bags of fabric recycling and 12 bags of donated, like there's 42 pillowcases for 2 people,
Yeah.
including the ones to lay them out in when they're dead. So that might be an Irish thing.
I've
I
never
love
heard of
that.
that. Yeah, it definitely is.
And my poor dad, he died a year ago, and we didn't use one of those pillowcases. Sure, the funeral director used them, so we still have 2. But your hot press, like if you do there's so many, like one of the questions I think is like which category gives you the best bang for your buck kind of
I was
thing.
about to say yes, because we have a list of questions, by the way.
Yes, we're kind of
And
answering them as we
we
go.
sort of are. I think
Yeah,
we are. Yeah, I
yeah.
think we're ticking the box. If we've talked about mental health, we've talked about the biggest impact. But yeah, as you say, the hot press is an easy win, right?
It's a huge one. Like ideally you do start with your clothes, but yeah, if you do your hot press, and just again, it's about reducing stress and decision fatigue, and changing the, like, I'm not like decrepit, but God, I don't know how people change duvets all the time. It's so exhausting. But if you can at least make the part of picking the thing out of the wardrobe easy, and some people, if you have a really busy household, and what I do sometimes with clients, is if you've kids' beds or whatever, like inside the pillowcase is the sheet and the duvet cover or whatever. But also, and I do this with the home rescue people when we're going to, or towels, decide how many towels you think you need as a family. Do you really need, like if you have, I don't know, 3 beds, so you need, a duvet on each bed, a duvet cover, and one in the wash, and maybe a spare one. Like 3, I'd say max per bed. Like that still adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Less.
You work in my job, like it gets out of hand quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you're right. So there's definitely it's like I find when you've cleared a cupboard or you've reorganized something, the end the dopamine hit you get
Yeah.
from that, and you feel so proud of yourself, and you feel
Yeah.
so elated that you
Yeah.
open, and when you open into that cupboard, and you're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so organized. I'm so amazing.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing I do after working with every client, no matter what category we're doing, before I leave. And I'd be like, I need to go, but let's just have one last look at what we did today. And it might be just stationery, it might be just tea towels, whatever it is. But there is that sense of accomplishment and what you've done, And I know we talked about folding and stuff a lot, and that is great. But like, it's really how you feel in your home. That's what we're trying to get you to. I'm very similar with interior design. Like before you start the KonMari method and doing your full tidying festival, it's about we do the ideal lifestyle document. It's about how you want to feel in your home once you have decluttered. What does it look like to you? What's the lighting like? Do you want a mustard chair with a table beside it so you can read a book, or do you want space to do craft in the room that's a mess at the moment? And you go into that fine detail to kind of almost manifestation, and you can do a vision board if you need to as well, if you want to, and that kind of becomes your motivation and your North Star. Because although yes, obviously we want a tidier place for functionality, but really it's the feeling that we want, and that's why you come back from somebody's house really relaxed. You're like, why was it so nice there? Or a hotel or an Airbnb, it's how you feel in the space, and especially in Ireland, we're never going to be minimalists, and I don't think I ever will be either, but it's about hospitality, and it's the tea test. If somebody rings and says, I'm calling over for tea, I went really Irish there, I'm calling over for the tea, like are you stressed straight away because there's somebody coming for tea, or can you be like, yeah, grand, they're here, it's going to take them 10 minutes, I'll just tidy up a little bit. And one of the KonMari consultants, actually, I think she like has a little tea station with a cup and saucer ready at any moment in case anybody calls, like Mrs. Doyle almost, so it's about, and that's kind of one of the mental health benefits. It's about being proud of your home, and that's what's really sad sometimes and then really happy by the end of the home rescue ones. Often the people have been really house proud, and then the house has kind of got on top of them. Life has happened, and all of a sudden, and they've been like telling people, you can't call over at the moment, making excuses, going to see friends instead, and all of a sudden they're like, I can't wait to have people over, because it's so lovely having somebody over to your home. And our homes, I always say this to clients on my discovery calls, book yours now. It's about you know, the world seems to be getting crazier and crazier every day if you turn on the news, and sometimes I just don't. But then I miss loads of things. I go, oh, I didn't know that happened. But, you know, our homes should be somewhere where when we come home, we close the door and we go,
Quiet in our minds. Yeah.
you know. And so many times I talk to people, and some people sit outside their cars on the phone before going in because they don't want to face kind of what's inside, kind of thing. Now that could be a person or a or a screaming child or something as well, you know. But you know, our homes should be, and if we're lucky enough to own a home or rent a home, you know, it is somewhere we spend so much time, we sleep, we eat. It should be somewhere that you can recharge, that you feel safe, that you feel relaxed in. Like, what's the point otherwise, you know, because everything else you can't really control, but if you can kind of control and feel good in your space, then it does make life maybe what's the word, when challenges come, then you can.
Yes, you're more able to deal with them because
Thank
this
you.
is not a
Yeah.
level of stress hanging over you. I mean,
Yeah.
you must become kind of people's agony aunt as well in a certain way, because obviously, you know, as a part of all of this, it isn't just about the stuff, it's what's caused the stuff in the first place. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that must be hard because, I mean, you're obviously, you know, you're welcomed into people's homes and you're helping them and all of that. But
Yeah.
I
No,
would
it's
imagine. I mean, I know, you know, I did a life and business coaching diploma before I got into interiors, and I know how often that stands me in massively good stead
yeah,
when I'm actually coaching people with their
kind of
homes. So
the
you must
psychology
find
of.
this, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I think Marie Kondo was trying to do research on that around the world, kind of on the, you know, the on the actual KonMari method itself. To like maybe, God, you know, maybe in years to come, your GP will be prescribing the KonMari method to help kind of with your home or whatever. So, my brain has gone somewhere there now for a second. Where's it gone? Neuro
It's gone
spiking
into
kind of thing.
fart world, is what I call it, the brain fart world.
Fart world. What were you saying there a second ago?
Just this, you know, the basically
Psychology of it. Yeah.
yeah, that you become
Yeah.
kind of like sort of an
A
inadvertent
psychotherapist.
sense.
Yeah, like I've
Yeah.
done and I do, and I was only thinking about this today, but I'm so indecisive. I don't know if I want to do a course on psychology or psychotherapy or um, philosophy, so therefore I do none. But no, I do think, and I thought of this before. I think the perfect person is like a triple threat. So a KonMari consultant, a psychotherapist, and an interior designer all rolled into one. You know,
Yeah.
because it is, as one of my clients said, is before I got to her house and we'd done the consultation call and the ID lifestyle document, somebody's doing their jumper shelf. Yay! I was like, she was like, "Is this decluttering or counselling?" I was like, "It's kind of a bit of both because it
Kind of
does
all of this.
stuff
Yeah.
comes up, you know." So
Yeah.
I'm not a trained psychotherapist, and I will always recommend people if they're not going to somebody if there's a lot of heavy stuff, but like stuff does come up and there's often a lot of grief or bereavement or trauma or whatever, and I'll obviously help as much as I can, and then if it's too much, they'll often be already going to somebody or whatever, you know.
Yes. Sure.
But it is, yeah, because there's emotions, we connect emotions to things,
Mm.
but we forget that actually the emotions are in here, they're in our heart and our head, you know.
Yeah.
So if
No,
you,
no, stuff.
God forbid, if there's a fire and all your jumpers were burnt down or something, you know, like,
Mm.
you'd still remember Auntie Nan or whoever gave one to you, you know. So we sometimes forget that the memory, we attach the memory to the item, and we think we have to hold on to all of the items to remember the person. But maybe you don't need all 14 jumpers that she gave you every Christmas. Maybe just keep the one or two or five that you really loved, you know.
Yeah. I'm so conscious that we're coming up to the hour, but we kind of knew this would happen, didn't we? Because there's so much to unpick with this
Yeah.
whole sort of area. I mean, if there's any questions for
Oh
anyone
yeah,
who's still
throw it in the chat, and
who's
there could be,
still
because
with us.
obviously, yeah, because I'm on the phone, so you can't kind of look at
Yeah,
chat.
I'm
And my
conscious that people kind of said lots of lovely, this is amazing, thank you
okay,
so much, as
good,
we were kind of going along.
brilliant.
But if anybody has any questions, I can't see any kind of coming in now.
Yeah.
But I mean, so basically tell everybody who's on the call how they can find you, how they can book
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
Do you
yeah.
have any events coming up? Do you have anything else that we can
Yes.
find you on? Tell us
Yes.
about all of
There
that.
we go. Yeah, so my website is joyathome.ie. You will also find me on Facebook and Instagram maybe TikTok, but I don't know. But we'll see. Celine Dion has just gone on it, so if she has to go on it, then maybe I do too. So, but she's got a team of people. So yeah, you'll find me there. I'm based kind of Dublin, Kildare, so most of Leinster is kind of within a nice quick kind of drive or whatever. I can also do this virtually by Zoom. I trained in COVID and stuff, and all my case studies and practice clients were by Zoom. So literally, it's like this. I can be on a laptop screen in the corner of your bedroom while you're going through your dresses, and I'll be watching your body language.
Okay, so I'm going, do I keep this, do I chuck, and you just go,
yeah, absolutely. So that can work as well. So yeah, but also there's kind of technically only two KonMari consultants in Ireland at the moment, myself and Justine in Wicklow, actually. Justine Conroy, her of the Don Conroy Draw with Don on the Den fame, if people will know her. If you go onto KonMari.com, no matter where you are in the world, you'll find a KonMari consultant close to you. But yeah, reach out to me. You can book a free 30-minute discovery phone call on my website. We'll talk about the process, where you're stuck, what you might need, see if we're a good match, because it kind of is like counseling in a way. After a phone conversation, you'll kind of know, I think this will be a good fit. And then usually I never put pressure to book like multiple sessions. Book a 5-hour session, see how we get on, and I'll be able to tell you then how much more sessions it may take. Everybody's different. Some people will do loads of homework or joy work in between, but some people will be like, no, I won't do anything until you're here again. So it depends on how self-motivated people are in between. Yeah. Keep an eye out. Hopefully Home Rescue will be back. We're waiting on the RTE commissioning gods to decide, so fingers crossed. But yeah, keep an eye on my website as well. I do sometimes do virtual tidying festivals, just online through Eventbrite, and that's really fun to declutter with other people. I've none of them live at the moment, but I must get that booked in soon. But also, if anybody's watching and wants just send me an email, put Design Source in the subject line, and I'll send you my top 5 decluttering tips and put you on my mailing list.
Oh, you are amazing to do that. You're amazing to do that. Yeah, well, we'll get that linked in as well for when this goes on to the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't thank you enough, Aidan. You've been so generous with your time, and I think everybody that we've had so many lovely comments of, oh my god, this has just been fascinating. So, Aidan, thank you so much on behalf of Design Source for doing this for us. I think you'll be back again to do another one because everyone's saying, please get him back, please get him back. I have to go. I had to go early. So I would say you'll be in serious demand, and I would imagine lots of us now are all going to be going away and sort of rooting through our attic and thinking, Aidan told me to get rid of it, doesn't spark joy. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, and give yourself time. It's a marathon, not a race. Don't think you can do it all really quickly. Because if you try to do too much too quick, you'll get unmotivated and get stressed and overwhelmed. So little and often, even 10 minutes a day or an hour a week, it's amazing how much you will get done in time.
That's it. It's one press at a time. It's the spice rack this week. It's the as you say, the baking.
But start with clothes. All about the
start with clothes. Start with clothes. I've been doing that. I've been selling like a mad thing on Vinted. And by the way, that's my one tip. If anyone is interested in selling on Vinted, is do your photography and do it well. Stage the items. If you've got a little blouse, put a little necklace on it. Make it look like somebody might want to buy it. And even if you're only selling it for a £5, it will go. Because I've literally sold, I've got 10 things out this week alone.
Wow. Yeah. No, it does. Yeah. Like
all about your staging.
Yeah, and even hanging on a kind of clear pale background or whatever. Yeah, some things you're like, why would you take a picture of it like that? I can see your bed is unmade in the background.
Is that in the bath?
You're like, I'm not going to buy that from you.
That in the bath? What is that in there?
Yeah, it's all about the visuals, isn't it? Yeah,
actually it is. Listen, Aidan, thank you so much.
Thanks,
and thank you to everybody who joined and for everybody's comments and messages. We've had a great time.
Yeah, and if there's any questions and somebody's like, oh, you never saw my question, just DM me and I'll get back to you. Yeah,
amazing. Listen, thank you so much again, and have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.